talking to Brock. He says that he has heard that Brock is on the national team. Then he asks that if this was his dream, then why doesn't he look happy? Brock just stands up and says that he is leaving. The teacher stops him to give some final advice and says to never leave sports no matter what. But Brock just glares at him and walks out of the room without saying anything, closing the door behind him. Back in the student council room, Jason recounts what happened when Brock first came to the school. When he first arrived, many students were suspended. When Jason went to see what was happening, it was too late. Brock had beaten up many students and even fought Jason himself. Several students had their athletic careers ruined, while Brock nearly got sent to juvenile detention and expelled from the school. He explains that a member of the judo team was going to join the national team, but was stopped due to this incident. After this incident, sponsors left the school, and it became an ordinary school. However, clubs still remained. Jason also says that the teacher who helped Brock was the same teacher who saved him from punishment and put him on a team. When Seth starts to get tired of the story, the president reiterates that Brock came back because of him. Victor seems annoyed hearing this and looks eagerly at Seth, but the hero still doesn't understand anything. At the end of the day, they are both exiting the school while the class representative is waiting outside for them. Our hero sees her standing there and Victor teases him with a slight smile. Sophie asks if he's okay, and Seth confirms, causing Victor to laugh and leave, wishing him well. Seth is still confused, while Victor says goodbye to both of them. Then he asks if Sophie was waiting for him, to which she can't answer. She puts her bag in front of her face and tries to say something. Seth still doesn't understand anything until she asks if he remembers her. She tries to look directly at him, but Seth answers that she's the class representative. Sophie gets angry hearing this. Sophie tries to help by asking if he remembers when they were younger. Seth says he remembers that they were together at spring daycare and that they were very good friends then. Sophie gives a slight smile and says that they used to play at Seth's house often. Hearing this, he smiles again. They both remember the moments when they played in the trees and when she kissed Seth on the cheek. Seth says with a laugh that he doesn't need to worry because he won't tell anyone that she kissed him. Saying this, he points to his face. Seth explains that they were kids then, but she suddenly gets disappointed hearing this. He asks if she waited so long just to ask that. At the same time, the members of the student council start to exit, and she asks angrily who said she was waiting for him. Then she walks behind the president and leaves with the members of the student council while Seth is left alone. He thinks that they both get along quite well with each other and walks in the opposite direction with a slight smile. He remembers his childhood and moves forward smiling until he sees his car stopped again. The driver is sleeping again, and Seth is about to get into the car when the driver welcomes him half asleep. When Seth asks why he's always so nervous, the driver wakes up and apologizes. Then he asks if he should go by his mother's restaurant so he can see her, but Seth refuses and tells him to go straight to the company. They arrive at the Sunshine Group building. In the president's office, Seth feels bored with the paperwork. He flips through files and asks what he should know about these matters, but his uncle reminds him to speak more professionally when he's at work. They both stare at each other, and the hero asks if it's all necessary for him to do since he's not officially president yet. To this, his uncle reminds him that Sunshine Group is the result of his father's hard work, and he, being the only son, will inherit it. Our hero says that he's only 17 years old and doesn't know much about all this. To this, his uncle scoffs. He also reveals that its roots are actually tied to gangs. He explains that they have only given their company legitimacy. Has another 2 years until he truly takes over the business, but he goes on to say that it doesn't matter because he's the boss's son, whom all the officers have already accepted. Our hero takes a deep breath. Just then, they receive a call. Seth's uncle answers the phone, and someone on the other end says that the people from Bujing have arrived. The call cuts off, and he becomes deeply displeased. Just then, the door is kicked open, and the uncle angrily asks what they are doing. At the same time, the boss of Bujing Group, Derek, enters the room and asks if he's not welcome here. The uncle calls him a traitor, to which Derek angrily replies that he doesn't accept Seth into power, because he's just a boy. This attitude makes the uncle so angry that Seth has to intervene and interfere in their conversation. Our hero stares at Derek and asks how Derek's nose is. Derek replies that he was careless last time. Seth asks if he wants a rematch. Hearing this, the hero gets excited and says that this is the right time because he's in a very bad mood. He lunges straight at Derek. Derek can't react while the hero gets close to him. Then suddenly there's a sound of something being crushed. The next day, while returning to school, Seth says goodbye to the driver while Jason is watching him. Arriving at school, they both stare at each other and Seth goes inside the gate. During this time, everyone's eyes are on Brock. Meanwhile, Brock orders his brother to somehow bring the hero to him. At the same time, Jason watches him from afar towards the entrance of the school. In the council room, the president explains the entire situation and tells everyone to avoid fighting with Brock. To this, Gabe gets annoyed and asks who he thinks he is and why everyone should be careful of him. Sam says that Brock is a national team player, so he has no reason to fight. But hearing this, Gabe gets even more angry because he holds Brock responsible for the current state of the school. The president ends this debate, saying that they can't do anything about it. Hearing this, Gabe loses his cool and remembers that they all came to this school because it was an athletic school that had lost all its prestige. Everyone accepts this truth, even if they can't do much about it. Gabe kicks the chair in anger and says that he wants everything back that Brock took from him and that he will get it at any cost. Meanwhile, Goblin goes to Seth's room and finds him sleeping again. He wakes him up very carefully and calls him out to talk. Seth says that he's sleepy, but Goblin says that it's important. Hearing this, the hero agrees and goes out with him. Our hero asks if they are going to talk outside, and Goblin confirms this. During this time, Victor sees both of them leaving the room. They are passing through the corridors, while Sophie remains worried about what will happen next. In the school grounds, Brock is tired of defeating all the students. These were the students whom Gabe had called for help. Brock asks, "Is that all you have?" Hearing this, Gabe fills with anger and kicks Brock forcefully, but Brock blocks it with his hand. Then he grabs Gabe's leg and says, "I hope you've said your final prayers." After this, he throws Gabe forcefully to the ground. Even after defeating him, Brock feels satisfied and looks at Gabe's unconscious body. Then he says that he will make sure that Gabe can never walk again. But just then, the student council president arrives there and stops the fight. Brock recognizes him. Jason asks, "Why are you here? You had no quarrel with the school." Brock replies, "Really? I don't have any problem with the school. He just wanted to talk to the new boy, Seth." Jason warns him not to cause any more trouble in the school. Brock says, "You don't need to be afraid of anything because you come from a rich family and are the president of the school. But I am superior to you." The president remains firm and says that he will not let the entire school get into trouble. Just then, Goblin brings Seth there. Brock and Seth's eyes meet each other, and Seth realizes that this is the same Brock that everyone has been talking so much about. He gives a big smile recognizing Goblin's brother's face and says, "You haven't changed at all." But just then, Brock gets ready to confront Seth and moves towards him. Seth, understanding his intention, starts to get nervous. His hands start to tremble, but then he closes his fist. But before anything could happen, Jason comes in between and stops Brock from moving forward. Brock warns, "You'll regret it if you come in between." But the president remains firm in his place and orders that there will be no fighting in the school. Brock finally gets annoyed with the president and decides to attack him. Seth immediately tells Jason to get out of the way and pushes him to the side. Our hero thinks that Brock came here to meet him only, while Jason tries to warn Seth not to create any more trouble in the school. Seth assures him that he will not let anything wrong happen. Then he says, "If we have to fight, let's go to the gym. There are already many people present there." He also says that they can choose any kind of fight because it doesn't matter to him. Brock stares at him silently. Seth says smilingly, "I am not afraid of you." Brock raises his hands and is about to attack him when Seth asks, "Do I look scared to you?" Even the spectators are surprised to see the spark in his eyes. Then Seth says, "We will fight like a player. Where is the gym?" As this news spreads, rumors start flying in the school that a fight is about to happen. Everyone says that it will be near the boxing club. In the boxing ring, both of them stand face to face waiting for the fight to begin. Seth, while smilingly looking at Brock, stretches his muscles, while Brock takes off his shirt and warms up his hands to warm up. Just then, the council girl comes to Jason and starts provoking him, asking if he is not going to resolve this matter. In the gym, Nathan watches in surprise that the fight is about to begin, but just then, the sports teacher arrives there and shouts loudly. Everyone gets worried about what will happen now, and the council girl starts blaming Jason for all this. But when the teacher reaches the ring, he just leaves a pair of gloves for Seth and says that they will need them for the fight. He explains that he will be the referee for this fight, and the match will be under MMA rules, 3 rounds, each of 3 minutes. Seth looks at the teacher and smiles confidently. Meanwhile, a boy comes running into the classroom and shouts that the fight is going to be in the boxing gym. Hearing this, Sophie gets worried, while Victor wakes up hearing Brock's name. They both look at each other seriously. The teacher reminds them that this is a game. Our hero asks Brock if this is all happening because he had knocked him down in his childhood and calls him a sad loser. But this makes Brock even more angry. Brock explains that he had lost for the first and last time and asks if this reason is not enough. The teacher rings the bell and the fight begins. Brock tries to grab Seth's face, but Seth escapes and notices his move. Then Seth grabs Brock's hand and gets ready for his strike. He knees Brock in the stomach and takes him down by grabbing his neck. Brock falls to the ground and tries to get up with great difficulty while gasping for breath, but Seth doesn't stop. He hits him with another forceful punch on the neck and brings him down again. The spectators are surprised by what they are seeing. Our hero turns to the teacher and asks if he is not going to start counting, but the teacher says that there is no need to hurry. Seth gets worried and turns around to see that Brock is trying to get up once again. He is completely out of breath, but still manages to get up. The crowd goes crazy because the fight has just begun. At the same time, the class representative comes to the gym. Seth looks at his opponent, and Brock runs towards him to attack him without stopping. Seth just takes a long breath and says that he should have stayed down. In a swift movement, Seth dodges Brock's attack and grabs his head. Then he slams him to the ground with all his might. Seth stands over him and asks if he looks weak, and then gets ready to punch him straight in the face. Brock just realizes what is about to happen, and then Seth's punch crushes his face. The spectators are stunned because Seth keeps punching continuously until the teacher orders to stop the fight. Seth stops punching, but blood has splattered all around the ring. Then he asks again, "Do I still look weak?" In Sunshine Hospital, Brock is resting wrapped in bandages. Suddenly, he wakes up and sees the sports teacher standing next to him. The teacher asks if he has woken up and tells him that according to the doctors, he will have to rest for 2 months. The teacher explains that his nose has been fixed, but he has suffered a skull fracture and a broken rib. He also says that they have told Brock's team that he suffered this injury during practice. When Brock gets a little comfortable, the teacher complains to him that he created such a big spectacle for a childhood fight. But Brock says that it doesn't matter to him now because he has found something more interesting than wrestling. In the school, all the students in the class are scared by Seth's presence. Seth takes a long breath, which makes the boys even more scared. He just gets up from his seat and looks towards the corridor. He can see that everyone is trembling with fear, thinking about what he is going to do now. In the bathroom, some boys are discussing the incident. One of them says that it is all happening because of the new boy defeating Brock. His friend can't believe this until they look towards the bathroom door and become silent in panic. Seth comes to them and says softly, "Move aside." They immediately throw their cigarettes and run away. At the same time, Victor comes into the bathroom and stops next to Seth. He looks at him angrily and says that Brock was his target. Then he challenges Seth to a fight alone in the boxing ring. That night in the school, Victor waits for Seth in front of the boxing ring. Throwing his things under the ring, he takes out boxing gloves from his bag. He remembers how he was insultingly defeated by Brock, and then Seth finished him off like it was nothing. Thinking this, Victor gets angry at himself for being scared of Brock. Hours pass, but Seth doesn't come, which makes Victor even more annoyed. Still, he keeps waiting for him. In Sunshine Group Building, Seth is stuck with a lot of documents. He tries to get out and says that he has to meet a friend, but his uncle doesn't let him go. Seth tries to explain that his friend is waiting for him, but still, his uncle insists that he can't go. Seth just looks at them in frustration. The next day, Victor is busy with his heavy training session. He keeps training continuously until a man comes to him and advises him not to work so hard because he doesn't have any close fights. Victor replies that he should always be ready whenever he needs to be. The man tries to explain that boxing won't be of much use and that he should switch to MMA, but Victor says that he doesn't do it for money. Hearing this, the man becomes silent. Victor says that it's all right because he had made a promise. He will become a world champion and won't give up until he achieves it. After this, he tries to calm the man and says that they should get a fight soon. Then he leaves for school. As soon as Victor comes out of the gym building, a black car comes and several people come out. They ask the man to sell the building and claim that they will pay its fair price. Arriving at school, Victor goes to his classroom and sees that Seth is lying on the table. Seeing him, Victor gets annoyed and he remembers Brock and Seth's fight. In anger, he kicks Seth's chair forcefully, causing Seth to fall from the chair. Looking at the clock, Seth complains that it's not even 7:00 a.m. yet. He turns and looks at Victor, who asks angrily if he enjoyed making him wait. Seth says that he had a lot of work, so he couldn't come. Victor gets confused by this work story, while Seth yawns from exhaustion. Victor threatens him that if he makes him wait again, the consequences won't be good, but just then Seth smiles and, standing up, asks if he really thinks that he will run away from a fight. This statement of Seth annoys Victor even more. He cracks his fingers and angrily attacks Seth. Victor tries to punch Seth in the face with a forceful punch, but Seth doesn't flinch, and the punch hits his face directly. But then Victor realizes what actually happened. Seth had caught his punch with one hand. Seth starts tightening his grip on his fist, causing one of his fingers to break. Despite the pain, Victor looks seriously at Seth. Seth asks if he still wants to continue the fight. In anger, Victor tries to punch with his other hand, but Seth easily dodges every single attack. Gradually, Seth finds himself near the wall. Seizing the opportunity, Victor tries to punch Seth in the face with a straight punch, but Seth snaps his hand away in a jolt. This makes Victor surprised. He tries to attack again. Our hero gets tired of being defensive and gets ready to attack. But just then, a boy enters the classroom and is shocked to see what is happening. At the same moment, Victor feels that it would be better to stop the fight now. In class, the rest of the students remain eager about the brawl that took place between them throughout the day. Both Victor and Seth avoid meeting each other's eyes until Sophie comes and asks Seth to go for lunch. Seth excitedly says that they can go together, which confuses Sophie. Victor mutters that soon everyone will find out who the real winner is. Then he lowers his head and goes to sleep on the table. When they return, Seth sees Victor sleeping and goes back to his table to sleep. As evening arrives, Victor wakes up and asks Seth to come with him. They exit the school, and Victor tells him to follow him continuously. Seth tries to ask something, but Victor stops him in the middle. Still, Seth asks if they have reached their destination. Then Victor turns around. Seth was getting into a black car. Seth says that he doesn't have much time and asks Victor to sit in the car. As they sit in the car, the driver feels uncomfortable and asks where they should take him that night. That night, the driver lights a cigarette and waits in front of Victor's boxing gym and asks if he can go home. At the same time, the black car returns, and the people who came in the morning return again with weapons. They move towards the gym, while the driver just keeps smoking his cigarette. Meanwhile, inside the gym, Victor calls Seth into the ring. Seth looks to one side and looks at a photo hanging on the wall in which there is a fighter and a child. But Victor gets impatient and says to hurry up because Seth himself had said that he is busy. As soon as Seth enters the ring, Victor admits that he has been curious about him since he transferred to the school. Our hero asks jokingly how he watched him when Victor was sleeping. Victor gets annoyed by this, but Victor says that this time he will fight without gloves because that's his real game. They both stare at each other seriously, and Seth starts pulling his tie and taking off his shirt. At the same time, Victor becomes impressed seeing the countless wounds on his body. Seth provokes him even more and asks if he has gotten scared, which makes Victor even more annoyed. As soon as it starts, Victor attacks Seth with his fast speed. As soon as he is about to punch Seth in the face, the coach calls his name loudly. Victor's coach is standing half-panning at the door and stops the fight. He asks who the people outside are, which makes both of them curious. Seth goes out and sees that his driver has subdued the goons who had come to attack the gym. He asks what happened, so the driver says that they were planning to attack. Seth asks who they were and why they were doing this. The driver says that he has no information about this. Seth decides that he will interrogate one of them. Returning to the Sunshine Building, they find out that there are a lot of outstanding debts on the gym, and that's why those people came to settle the account. Seth asks if they were planning to forcibly take over the gym, but the man says that they just wanted to buy the coach's gym. Seth asks his uncle what they should do. The uncle asks what he himself wants to do about this. At school, the teacher says that Victor hasn't come yet and asks if anyone knows where he might be. Everyone starts suspecting that Seth has done something to him. Sophie turns back in panic. The teacher ignores Victor's absence and starts the class. Hours pass, but Victor still doesn't come to class. Suddenly, he enters the room and moves straight towards Seth's table. They both exit the class, which increases Sophie's worry even more. In a corner of the school building, Victor stands in front of Seth and takes out an envelope and shows it. He asks what this envelope is and says that he got it yesterday. Victor says that his and his father's debt has been paid off with interest. Seth is surprised hearing this and asks what he wants to say. Victor gets annoyed and asks if this was Seth's doing, but Seth replies that what would be wrong with it. Hearing this, Victor gets angry and says that Seth shouldn't interfere in his family matters. Seth asks if that's how he protects his honor. Victor gets even more angry and grabs Seth's collar, but Seth says that if he doesn't need help, he can return the money. Victor says that the debt collectors have disappeared and asks what Seth did to them. Seth frees himself and says that Victor should just focus on his boxing. He reminds Victor of the promise he made to his father that he will one day become a world champion. Hearing this, Victor steps back because he realizes that Seth knows about his promise. Seth says that he can call him for a fight whenever he wants. As Seth starts to walk away, Victor just keeps watching him go, which annoys him again. Returning to class, Sophie keeps looking towards the door, waiting for Seth to return. When Seth returns, she is shocked. Seth asks what she was doing. She tries to lie and says that she thought he went to fight again. Seth teases her, asking if she was worried about him. Sophie turns red with embarrassment and starts talking about the class representative to compose herself. She says that she feels responsible for both of them. Seth laughs and says that he doesn't fight with the boys in his class. Sophie gets confused, but Seth explains that she has always been kind and caring for everyone. As Seth leaves from there, Sophie just keeps watching him go. From a distance, the school council president sees them and gets annoyed by Seth's closeness to Sophie. He mutters that Seth should stay within his limits. In an old Japanese-style house, Derek was sitting in the empty room waiting. A man who was wearing a half-open kimono robe and whose body was covered in tattoos asks for permission to open the door. Inside that room, the leader of the Ane gang, Mookie Rushing, was sitting. Derek bows his head and apologizes, but the leader only says that he is extremely disappointed with his subordinates. Derek apologizes again and begs for another chance to make up for his failure. He explains that since the identity of the successor has not been confirmed yet, so if the gang gets help, they can take over Sunshine. At that moment, Rushing angrily breaks his pipe and slams it on the ground and says that he has heard that the successor is very young. He remembers that even though he is young, he is still the successor and he should be more careful. Then he explains that they must first find out what the successor's weakness, because he is still a child, there must be some weakness. Derek suddenly remembers something. He had seen Seth with his mother several times, especially after his father's death. He becomes sure that this will be his biggest weakness. But the gang leader already explains to him that this time he should work with full caution and not make any mistakes. Meanwhile, a group of boys enters a room led by Gabe, who is still recovering. He asks, shouting angrily, who the new boy is. Seth introduces himself. Gabe glares at him angrily and asks if he is the one who defeated Brock. Then he calls Seth outside the room. But this time Seth stays there and asks if they consider him a dog who comes running when called. Hearing this, Gabe gets even more angry, but just then Victor comes and tells him to get out of the way. As the rest of the boys see Victor, they panic. Gabe gets even more angry, but just then Sam enters the room and tells Gabe not to touch the new boy. Then Sam announces that he will join the judo club, which surprises everyone. The debate continues in the room, while Seth remains completely unaware and confused by the whole matter. Just then another person comes near the room and thinks if there are any guests there. He looks towards the alley and sees that another group is coming there. This was Damien, the head of the wrestling club, who scolded the boy, saying why he came here. That boy was Scott, the head of the Candle Club, who had brought some more students with him. Seth, seeing all this, gets surprised and fixing his hair says what is going on. Meanwhile, Sophie attracts everyone's attention and says that the whole class is feeling uncomfortable because of them. Everyone starts giving their own explanations, but Sophie kicks everyone out of the room. As soon as she closes the door, she turns towards Seth and says that now he can relax, but then she remembers that the main door is still open from where the rest of them come in again. They all surround Seth to include him in their respective sports clubs, while Seth starts thinking about how he should deal with these people. Meanwhile, the physical education teacher arrives there and scolds everyone. Everyone starts looking at each other. Then the teacher, understanding the whole situation, tells everyone to go to their rooms. Gabe, while leaving, warns that he will come back to meet Seth later. Then the teacher calls Seth to the counseling room, but Seth doesn't understand what happened there. The teacher reminds him that it is an athlete school and he wants Seth to join a club, but Seth gets confused by this request. Then the teacher tells about Brock that in the first year Brock was also like him and all the clubs wanted to include him in their team, but then he got involved in fights. The teacher was telling Seth all this so that he doesn't get involved in any fight either. But Seth replies that he doesn't have any problem and he has already said that he doesn't have time to give in sports. Hearing this, the teacher gets angry and asks how busy a first-year student can be. He thinks that Seth is joking, but Seth says that he is not what people think. He further says that students should be in this place, not him, to the teacher. The teacher has no answer left and Seth tells him to tell the rest of the students not to bother him. Then Seth says that he never backs down from any fight. Meanwhile, Jason was listening to their conversation from behind the door and leaves angrily, considering Seth arrogant. Then he goes to an old deserted building of the school where some boys were sitting smoking. A boy gets surprised seeing that the council president has come there. He asks what the president has come there to do. Jason replies that he needs their help to remove someone. At the end of the day, Seth comes out of the school and moves towards his car. As he passes near a wall, suddenly a man comes out from behind him and attacks him with wood. Some time passes and Seth slowly starts to come to his senses. In front of him was the same boy with whom Jason was talking. The boy smiles and starts talking to him while Seth keeps glaring at him with his injured head. When Seth tries to stand up, the same wood-wielding boy attacks him on his back again. This time Seth glares at him with deep eyes and starts to get angry. Meanwhile, a boy in class remarks that he looks very weak for a boy who defeated Brock. But another boy tells him to keep quiet. As soon as Seth stands up, he says that this is really an interesting situation. The group leader is impressed that Seth is not scared even in this situation. Just then the wood-wielding boy tries to attack Seth once again, but this time Seth was ready. He bends down and punches forcefully straight at the attacker's hand, because of which the wood flies in the air and that boy screams in pain. From this attack, his hand structure changes and Seth just says that he makes a lot of noise. Then he throws 2 punches at the boy, because of which he falls to the ground. After this, he turns towards the group leader and asks what these people actually are. The leader remains quiet, so Seth says that he doesn't care much about who they are, he just wants to finish this quickly. The leader calls him arrogant and orders all his men to attack Seth. The group's boys surround Seth from all sides. Seth sizes up his rivals, and as soon as the leader orders to attack, all the boys pounce on him. As the attack starts, Seth leaves a soft breath and gets ready for the fight. He starts bringing down his opponents one by one quickly. They keep falling devastated from Seth's punches and blows. Meanwhile, a boy hidingly tries to attack him with a chain, but Seth, saving himself, punches that boy on the face. Just then another goon tries to catch him from behind, but Seth, turning the chain-wielding boy, throws him on him, because of which both fall down. Then Seth picks up the chain, holds it, and with a maniacal smile says that it was fun. The leader, getting angry again, orders his men to finish Seth quickly. The goons pick up baseball bats and the fight now turns into a real war. As they try to attack Seth escapes the first attack and quickly starts attacking all the goons one after the other. He defeats all the opponents coming in his path. But suddenly he gets caught from behind, because of which he becomes helpless temporarily. Just then another boy holding the bat moves towards him to attack. As soon as he moves forward to attack, Seth kicks forcefully straight on his face and then throws him at the wall. After this, Seth, freeing himself, turns towards the boy who had caught him and starts raining punches on him. Meanwhile, another boy behind, picking up the bat to attack, tries to. In the end, he is able to attack Seth's head. Seth falls on the ground and feels the burning sensation in his head because of the injury. As soon as he sees his own blood, he loses his cool. Now he attacks with all his strength on his remaining rivals. The leader, watching all this, is stunned. His entire team had lost badly from Seth's hands. Just then he realizes that this is the same boy who had defeated his friends with bricks in childhood. Seth moves quickly towards the leader in fear. The leader starts stepping back, but Seth grabs his throat and asks angrily who had sent them to do all this. After ending this fight, Seth returns to the school building. Meanwhile, in the council room, the council president was sitting waiting with 2 other members. Jason was surprised why any news from the group hadn't come yet. Over there, Seth moves towards the council room. As soon as he opens the door, the president gets shocked. Seth moves slowly towards him. Jason immediately stands up and confronts Seth and asks what he is doing here, but Seth just gives a soft smile. Then suddenly he grabs the president's throat and slams him hard on the table. Seth asks angrily that why was he attacked by him. Just then Sophie comes into the room and was about to say something to Jason, but she is shocked seeing Seth questioning Jason. Seth picks up the president and says that he is very lucky. Then he leaves him and moves towards the door while Sophie keeps watching him, terrified. Seth had understood the situation fully and without saying anything else leaves from there. The next day Sophie was sitting at her desk, but the incidents of the previous night were going on in her mind. She tries to look towards Seth, but just then Seth's car comes and stops outside the school. His uncle gets out of the car and says that they won't ask any questions about this, but they will arrange some bodyguards for him. Even though Seth kept insisting that nothing happened, but his uncle didn't believe it because there were cuts on his face from the attack he got. Both argue about this situation a little until Seth asks to end the argument, but his uncle reminds him that they are in trouble with the leaders of Bujing and Poven group and Seth should be ready. Seth only requests that the bodyguards stay out of sight. When he reaches the class, Sophie sees him coming to his seat. She is shocked. Victor teasingly says to him that it is a great shame and asks if they beat him up. Although Seth explains that it was 11 against 1, but Victor brushes it off, calling it nonsense. At the same time, an announcement happens on the loudspeaker in which Seth is called to the principal's office, because of which Sophie and Victor become curious. Victor asks if something happened to Jason because his uncle is the principal and his father are the real owners of the school. He tells Seth to be careful earlier itself because it is not known what Jason is capable of doing. When Seth opens the door of the office, he sees that Jason is standing there with several school employees. Principal Calvin confirms the hero's name and mentions that since his transfer he has caused several problems. At the same time, Jason leaves a soft smile because he already had an idea of this conversation's outcome. He starts to list several instances of Seth's intimidation, including attacking the council president. Along with this, he concludes that Seth has been expelled from school. The president keeps smiling but soon notices that Seth is only smiling hearing this scenario and asks if this is really happening. Soon after, he takes out his phone and calls his uncle. In a few seconds of conversation, he orders his uncle to buy the school. Just then, several vehicles start coming in front of the school, because of which the students become curious. Seth's uncle comes out of one of those cars and moves towards the school with the bodyguards. Calvin, seeing this commotion, asks Seth what he has done. At the same time, the group opens the door of the principal's office. Jason tries to ask who those people are, but he is caught by the driver, who tells him to keep quiet. The uncle goes to the principal and gives him an envelope. The principal says angrily that they have trespassed in the school, but Seth's uncle only says that he should read the contents inside the envelope first. Kelvin stares at the envelope for some time and then opens it to see the document inside, because of which he gets shocked. It was written in it that the principal has been involved in illegal activities of the foundation for several years. Seth's uncle promises that he won't say anything about this to anyone provided that they hand over the school. Kelvin gets angry, but as soon as he tries to resist, he is caught by the neck. Just then, Seth's uncle says that he has been spending the students' lunch money for his own Bennett for years, and this matter should be settled peacefully. In the Shin house, Calvin talks to his brother and apologizes that he was forced to sell the school. Hearing this, his brother gets angry and asks if he has become addled, but he only gets an excuses. He checks the documents and sees that it belongs to the Sunshine Group. He calls them criminals. When Jason comes into the room, his father asks what happened in the school. Jason tells all the events of the past few days, and his father only picks up the phone and calls the senator. He asks the secretary if they know about the Sunshine Group. Meanwhile, in Sunshine Building, Seth's uncle says that what they did was easy because they were already guilty, although Seth asks if this can cause any problem. On this, he starts to list all the crimes found in their record.